Is stock photography dead? Let's talk about that controversial subject. But first, the obligatory intro. I've seen numerous videos on YouTube claiming a doomsday scenario for the contributors of stock photography. If you visit the forums, you will also find many negative and pessimistic posts concerning the current state of stock photography. Frankly, I understand the pain all stock contributors are feeling as our commissions continue to decline year after year after year. At the end of the day, we each need to make the ultimate decision. Do we stay or do we go? Do we continue to dedicate countless hours creating new content with the potential of minimal income, or do we find other sources of income within or outside of the field of photography? Let's loop back to the question, is stock photography dead? To help answer this question, I found several stock photography industry reports from firms specializing in market research. At first, I didn't think I would be able to find much data on stock photography. To my surprise, there's an abundance of market research data available from firms that specialize in the analysis and forecasting of market trends. However, the firms that provide this analytical data charge a handsome fee for the data. In most cases, these reports that analyze the stock photography business model cost thousands of dollars. I couldn't afford to pay for that, not for this video. Luckily, most of the market research firms provide a high-level summary report that is free. In this video, I will summarize some of the key analytics and forecasts from these reports. I will also provide some financial data from one of the top-tier stock agencies to review the current state of affairs from the agency perspective. And I will conclude with an analysis on the stock industry business model and the impact on the contributor base from the viewpoint of the contributor. Let's begin by talking about market size. In 2021, the stock photography industry had a market size of $4.6 billion. It is estimated the market size will grow to $7 billion by the year 2027. This translates to a CAGR of approximately 7%. CAGR refers to compound annual growth rate, the rate of growth of the total market potential year over year. What does this 7% CAGR tell us? It tells us the stock photography market is growing. It's not growing at a huge rate, but it's not shrinking. It's not dying. One observation I would like to make is the market research firms where I obtained this data varied the market size projections by $1.2 billion and the CAGR by 1 to 2%. I posted the higher numbers here. Let's talk about some of the market drivers that are accelerating the growth. 2 years ago, the global economy was hit with the effects of the COVID pandemic. The pandemic, as bad as it was and continues to be, helped drive new growth to the stock photography market. In my top tips for stock photography video that I produced almost 2 years ago, I mentioned how you should take advantage of the pandemic and create new content based on the new normal. I wasn't far off on my assessment back then. The pandemic caused the stop and delay of thousands of commercial activities. Customers in need of some form of digital media turn to the stock agencies for their immediate content requirements. Advertising agencies and company marketing departments turn to the stock agencies for low-cost and high-quality content to fulfill their needs. The pandemic also had the effect of driving new growth to online entertainment. Just look at the growth of platforms such as TikTok. Instagram joined the bandwagon by creating the Reels platform to compete with TikTok. YouTube then implemented their Shorts platform to get into the game. People couldn't go to movie theaters during the pandemic, so they turned to their cell phones for entertainment needs, which in turn created a new source for digital media content marketing. Another driver growing the stock industry is the increased budget on digital media advertising in the OTT or over-the-top platforms such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, and others. I subscribe to some of these media streaming services, and I've actually seen stock media of myself in the commercials. For example, here I am in a commercial for the Our Time dating service. They love me on these dating services. I also appeared on a Silver Singles commercial as well. I still get a kick whenever I see myself on an advertisement. It's too funny sometimes. Digital marketing is also growing at an accelerated rate in these social media platforms. You can't open Facebook without being bombarded by some form of digital advertisement. Digital marketing requires content, and that content is often obtained from the stock agencies. Wait a couple minutes and you'll probably be hit with a commercial on this video. I apologize, my channel is monetized. This old fart needs to earn a living. Another driver is the accelerated growth in the developing markets, particularly in the Far East, which has created a huge demand for content in those developing areas. The Visual China Group, a Chinese media company, is quickly becoming one of the largest stock agencies in the world. Another driver growing the stock industry is the mergers and acquisition activity. The top-tier agencies are looking to grow and expand their product offerings. So instead of creating a new business channel internally, they are buying smaller, profitable companies that will provide a new revenue stream. In 2020, Shutterstock acquired Amper Music to strengthen its capabilities in artificial intelligence and enhance its music offerings. In 2021, Shutterstock acquired PicMonkey, an online photo editing and graphic design service company. In 2021, Getty Images acquired Unsplash for its free image library. This year, Shutterstock acquired Pond5 for $210 million to expand its video offerings. The M&A activity will continue as the agencies position themselves to enhance existing channels and launch new vertical service offerings. Clearly, bigger is better when you can add business channels that are projected to grow and add customers to your expanding business model. Let's take a look at some of the financials reported to Wall Street. All publicly traded companies must comply with SEC rules and file annual reports called 10-K filings. Here are some of the financials from Shutterstock's 2021 10-K filing. Starting at the top line, the revenue line, Shutterstock reported over $773 million, a 16% increase over the previous year. Let's take a look at the bottom line, the net income. Shutterstock reported almost $92 million, a 28% increase over the previous year. Let's take a look at the company's subscriber data. They ended the year with 343,000 subscribers, up from 281,000 the previous year, a 22% increase in subscriber count. Their average revenue per customer increased to $368 from $333. The RPD, or revenue per download, increased to $4.16 from $3.68, a 13% increase. I wish my RPD was $4.16. They ended the year with 400 million images and 24 million videos in their collection. These financial numbers clearly indicate the company's performance didn't suffer in 2021. I'm curious how they will end up this year. According to their second quarter financial report, their net income is down by 34% year over year. We shall see how they end the year. I also obtained the 10-K filings for Adobe and Getty, but unfortunately, they don't have separate statements for their stock business. Their stock industry financials are combined with their other lines of business. Based on the Wall Street market research projections, the stock industry is clearly not a dead or dying business. So back again to my original question. Is stock photography dead? Now let me rephrase that question. Is stock photography dead for the contributor? As a stock contributor, that's the question that I or you really need to answer. Let's examine that question from a 10,000-foot perspective and simplify this analysis. By the way, this simplified business model is my view of the industry based on my experience. There are three major players in the stock business model. The first player is the seller. The seller being the stock agencies that markets our content. The second player is the customer. The customer is simply the buyer of our content. The third player is the contributor. We, the contributors, are the lifeblood of the stock industry. Contributors are right smack in the middle of this simplified business model. As contributors, we are subjected to external forces that impact our income potential. These forces include financial directives by agencies to improve profit margins that may ultimately lower our commissions. These directives are internally driven and or externally driven by shareholders for the publicly traded companies. Another force that impacts us is the downward competitive pressure on the agency's pricing. If one agency lowers their pricing structure, other agencies may be forced to follow the same strategy to adequately compete and maintain their customer base. This all equates to lower commissions for the contributors. Another force that impacts us as contributors is the sheer volume of content that is available to the customers. 10 years ago, an agency with a collection of a few million images and videos was thought to be a high watermark. Agencies will be approaching the billion image watermark within the next 5 years. That's absolutely crazy. And we obviously add fuel to the fire since we are continually creating new content that gives the customers a larger content base to choose from. It's a vicious cycle. There's also a snowball effect as new contributors join the agencies and your existing portfolios are diluted in the ever-increasing pool of available content. The supply of images and videos often exceed the demand, which further dilutes our income potential. The simplest law of economics tells us that when supply exceeds demand, prices will fall. Contributors are also pressured by the agencies to create new content based on feedback from their customer base. That's an effective way for the agencies to build their high-value collections. But at the same time, the contributors are only seeing marginal gains from these time-consuming content creation projects. Another force faced by the contributors is the advancement of technology and how these new tools can be used in stock photography. For example, drones have created a whole new segment in the stock industry. And even within the drone segment, we've seen further segmentation with the increasing popularity of POV footage. Are you the type of individual that feels compelled to join the bandwagon and start shooting drone footage in stills? Perhaps you are, perhaps you're not. I'm considering it. There are numerous other forces that affect the contributor base, whether externally or internally driven. So where does this all leave us? It leaves us stranded in the middle of all these compelling forces. It leaves us in a transformational business model that forces the content creator to change his or her mode of operation as a stock contributor. What are our choices? What can we do as contributors to improve our end of the business model? How can we stop the squeezing effect or at least slow it down? For years, I've been hearing that contributors should create a labor union to equalize the playing field and force the agencies to give us a larger piece of the pie. Frankly, I don't see the creation of a union happening within the next 5 years or even happening at all. The global contributor base is simply too fragmented to present a unified base of support for a union. And the geopolitical issues are very complex. They are extremely complex. In my opinion, I see the contributor community splintered into distinct groups with vastly different operating models and goals. I call it the contributor pyramid. At the base level of the pyramid are the amateur and entry-level contributors that are interested in generating some passive income. Their content may suffer in quality due to their lack of experience, and the agencies will gladly let them contribute if they create content in line with the agency's minimum standards. I call these contributors the rookies. These individuals are also motivated by the fact that someone actually wants to purchase their content. It's a very gratifying experience for a newcomer to the stock field. Rookies easily become addicted to the sales gratification cycle, although they are compensated at the lowest levels by the agencies. Then you have the mid-level contributors that are seasoned stock contributors. These are potentially professional photographers, videographers, and illustrators that allocate a portion of their time to stock content creation. Some work as contributors on a dedicated full-time basis. These contributors have mature portfolios that generate consistent passive income. Their income could be starting as low as $1,000 to over $5,000 per month. A subset of these mid-level contributors will stop creating new content if their time investment is no longer considered profitable. These mid-level contributors are in it strictly for the income. If they see themselves wasting time on content creation for a mere 10-cent download, they will stop uploading new content. I call these contributors the reactionaries. They have high ethical standards and don't want to be abused by the agencies and the business model that favors the agencies. They may also have other sources of income that can alleviate the downward trend of stock commissions. Some may pull their portfolios from the agencies, while others will stay and collect whatever passive income comes their way. Then we have another subset of the mid-level contributors that will continue to grind away and create new content regardless of the downward trend of commissions. I call these contributors the grinders. These individuals may reside in lower income countries where their stock earnings help put food on the table for their families. Their sheer existence might be dependent on their stock income, so they continue to grind away no matter the circumstances. Some of these grinders have come to heavily rely on the passive income and choose to stay in the game for financial reasons. Some grinders just love the art of content creation and enjoy seeing their content purchased throughout the world. And then we have our top level contributors. They sit on top of the contributor pyramid. These contributors may exclusively work in the stock industry creating content as photographers, videographers, or illustrators, or all of the above in a contributor agency format. They create high quality content that consistently sells in high volume. I call these contributors the producers. These are the superstar contributors that create new content trends and easily adapt to new content requirements. The 80-20 business rule applies to the producers. The producers may only comprise 20% or less of the total contributor base, but their content generates 80% of the total sales for the agencies. The producers can really hurt the agencies if they pull their profitable portfolios. Although they may also experience a reduction in income, their sheer volume of sales keeps them in the content creation business. Obviously, some of these top-level contributors may decide not to create new content if their income is dramatically affected. Or they may be in a position of power to negotiate with the agencies. What are your thoughts on the contributor pyramid? Does any of this make sense? Let's summarize the state of the stock industry. The stock industry is clearly not dead or dying in its current state. I see it more in a transitory state. The top tier agencies continue to be profitable companies despite the market conditions. We will probably see more mergers and acquisitions as the agencies seek to market vertical services with the expansion of new product offerings. The evolution of the contributor commission structure is clearly on the side of the agencies. The profitable agencies are earning higher income, while the contributor community is earning less income. The agencies continue to bite the hands that feed them every time they lower commissions or change computing algorithms that support a lower commission sale. In my opinion, this is not a sustainable business model. I believe this business model will eventually break down and the model will transition to something completely different. Perhaps blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other new technologies will impact how stock content will be marketed. Perhaps Nostradamus has noted the fate of the stock industry in one of his poetic quatrains. I'll need to research that. Time will tell what the stock industry will look like in 5 years, but it will unequivocally look vastly different. So where do you see yourself as a contributor in the pyramid? I'm a mid-level grinder contributor with some reactionary tendencies. However, I'm not growing my portfolio dramatically. I will probably taper off at about 20,000 images and videos in my portfolio. I simply don't have the hunger I had 14 years ago when I started in the field. I still love the art of photography. I thoroughly enjoy traveling and capturing those timeless moments. And on occasion, I may upload new content just to refresh my portfolio. And I'm grateful that my consistent passive income pays many of my bills and provides some financial assistance. However, the days of long hours in post-production and uploading are no longer important to me. So let me circle back to my rephrased question. Is stock photography dead for you, the contributor? Only you can answer that question based on your circumstances. As for me, stock photography is alive and well. But of utmost importance is that I am not a slave to the current business model. For me, the most important part of any work is to have fun. As I've always said and will continue to say, enjoy the ride. If you're not having fun, then get off the ride. This wraps up my video. Thanks for viewing. Please hit that thumbs up if you liked the video. Would love to hear your thoughts on the subject. I know there's lots of opinions on the subject, so I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Please smash that subscribe button as well and check out my other videos on stock photography for valuable tips. And as always, enjoy the ride.